Yo, what is going on, guys? CWpoke here, finally back with a brand new video. It's been quite some time since my last one and a lot has changed since. Most notably, Pokemon Sun and Moon are actually out. Leading up to the release of the new Gen 7 titles, I started doing artist showcase videos about Megas and Alola forms that I wanted to see in Sun and Moon. And while it turns out new Megas weren't even introduced in Sun and Moon, it's still cool to look at artwork and see what could lead for some cool ideas in the future possibly. This countdown is made with that very purpose. Looking at the Alola Dex, I wanted to find some Pokemon, both old and new, that had some fan-made Mega designs that I particularly enjoyed and would like to see. But before we begin, I want to ask you guys, what new Gen 7 Pokemon specifically would you like to get a new form? Feel free to get creative. It doesn't have to be a Mega, but maybe some other form that you create. I'd love to read them in the comments down below. And also in the next artist showcase, I want to showcase some of your artwork. Yes, if you draw your own idea for a Mega form, I will pick a couple of designs to put in my next Mega showcase video. Just follow me on Twitter at CWpoke and link your art in a tweet with the hashtag MEGACW. And now, without further ado, let's jump straight into my top 10 Alola Megas. Kicking off today's list, I'd like to take a brief moment of silence for one of the hardest nerfs to ever hit a Pokemon. Alright, with that out the way, Talonflame is a Pokemon that could definitely get something to compensate getting nerfed to oblivion. In case you were unaware, Talonflame's ability Gale Wings is a major part in what made Talonflame so useful, being able to fire off priority Brave Birds and other flying type moves. But now, Gale Wings only works at full HP, and since the move does recoil damage, well, the priority isn't long lived. Fortunately, this Mega Evolution for Talonflame is jaw-dropping. It looks so much more powerful even without the Gen 6 version of Gale Wings. It looks like it also gained some pretty solid boosts, including a little bit more to its defenses to stick around longer in battle. As for its ability, however, I think something like Reckless could be beneficial since Talonflame relies on recoil moves, and that 20% increase could stack really well with a higher attacking stat. Moving on to the 9th spot goes to another Kalos big hitter, Pangoro. This dark fighting panda's always had a pretty intimidating appearance, but the cool thing about Mega Evolutions is that we can step that up a little bit more. Mega Pangoro is here ready to sweep teams with his appearance alone. Retaining the dark fighting typing, I'd love to see Pangoro gain an ability like Moxie with some boosted attack and defenses to be a Mega dedicated to attempting a sweep. Maintaining a similar or slightly boosted speed stat would sound right in order to not have Mega Pangoro be a repeat of past Gen 6 nightmares. Moving away from that nightmare, let's switch to a happier topic. Number 8's Politoed. Okay, so maybe he was a bit rough back in the day too, but Drizzle's not as deadly as it used to be, and with more Pokemon having access to it, Politoed's fallen behind a little bit. A Mega Politoed would be a really fun addition to the series, especially with a design like this one. It looks like the author was trying to tackle the whole Sage Toad design that's been referenced in ancient mythologies, or more notably, like the Sage Toads in Naruto. I love that this Politoed looks a bit more serious, but still kind of fun and friendly, and I also feel like it could totally gain a second typing in this design, but I'm not quite sure what. The puffy cloud looking things hint water flying, but the yellow top and the sharp jagged designs make me think water electric, which would be pretty cool if Mega Politoed could abuse a drizzle guided stab thunder. But what secondary typing would you give this Politoed? Let me know in the comments. Since the Alola region is still new and Mega Evolutions are being added currently, it's been tough finding fan art for Gen 7 Mega Evolutions, but luckily there's still a pretty cool one for number 7, Bewear. I'm a huge fan of Stuffle especially, but Bewear is kind of an average Pokemon for me. I don't dislike it, but I can't say it's climbing too fast on my favorites list. However, a Mega Bewear takes his simple design and spices it up quite a bit. Mega Bewear looks like he's done playing games and is ready to wreck some teams, but he somehow still keeps that cute teddy bear look. Seeing a hefty boost to Bewear's already high 125 attack would be pretty neat, having an explosive hitting Mega Evolution that's still frail. I think keeping the fluffy ability would also keep it in check, as that ability is already incredibly useful while still adding an additional fire weakness. Roughhousing its way into number 6, Granbull is another Alola Dex Pokemon that I'd love to see gain a Mega one day. In fact, having a Fairy Poison Mega Granbull could have been a really cool signature Pokemon for someone like Plumeria to use in Team Skull. Searching for Mega Granbull designs was tough, but eventually I settled with this one. I like how Granbull looks more intimidating, but I really wanted to see that poison type in the design somewhere. So instead of just one design, I also saw this one and would like to see sort of a cross between the two. A stronger looking Granbull, but with those poisonous bits on its tusks and less of a fairy fighting appearance. Either way, there have yet to be fairy fighting or fairy poison types, so I guess either one could do a cool job at adding something unique. For number 5 spot, it's actually a Pokemon that has a really solid paired Pokemon. So this spot is actually both 5 and 4, Electivire and Magmortar. This dynamic duo has always been a favorite pair of mine ever since their introductions in Generation 4. Their designs synergize, and I feel like the Mega designs here do as well. They both look way more powerful, with Electivire focusing on attack and Magmortar on special attack. They both also look like they could get a bit faster and a tad bulkier, so a pretty even stat distribution after the boosts. One thing I could really like seeing with this pair to make them stand out would be their abilities. It would be cool if Mega Electivire could get Electric Surge while Mega Magmortar gets Drought. This would make for some cool synergy in mixed double battles if both teammates Mega Evolve their Pokemon and end up setting up the Sun and the Electric Terrain, since they don't negate but rather stack on the battlefield. But honestly, I would just be cool with seeing these two Pokemon gain new forms to keep them a bit more relevant in the newer generations. Muscling into today's number 3 spot goes to one of the ride Pokemon in Alola, Machamp. Machamps are fairly plentiful in the Alola region, making a number of appearances around the islands, yet sadly, they weren't given a new Alola form. Instead, I figured a Mega Evolution for Machamp would be an awesome addition to the series. This design doesn't do anything crazy like give Machamp 20 arms, but rather makes him look way more fearsome. The color scheme also makes Machamp look like he could either be a fighting fire type or a fighting dark type, which the latter could definitely help cover up some of those weaknesses like Psychic or Ghost that regular Machamp has difficulty dealing with. It would have also been cool to see a Mega Machamp be the mascot of the Battle Royale, possibly being the partner Pokemon of the mysterious Masked Royale. For number 2, I went with a design that is probably my favorite one on this entire list. Wailord is a giant loaf of a Pokemon that made its way onto today's top 10. The reason is because searching for Mega Wailord designs all had very similar styles, changing into a water flying type. This design for a Mega Wailord is both hilarious and awesome. Just imagining one of the biggest, bulkiest Pokemon finally gaining the power to fly is pretty funny to me. Plus, it reminds me of Levias from Zelda's Skyward Sword, the giant flying sky spirit. While Mega Wailord's new typing wouldn't help it out too much on the defensive side, now being quad weak to electric, another artist had a pretty interesting idea for an ability, Colossus, which reduces damage taken from smaller Pokemon, aka basically every other Pokemon other than some legendaries. This would drastically increase Wailord's staying power, assuming its Mega form also adds to that bulk too. Coming in today's number 1 spot, it is finally another Gen 7 Pokemon, and to make it even better, it's a legendary, Solgaleo. One of the more disappointing discoveries this generation was finding out that Solgaleo, despite being related to the Sun and looking the part, had no fire typing and was instead a steel psychic type just like Metagross. While the typing isn't bad per se, having a new solar form or mega form that added the fire typing would be incredible. Mega Solgaleo looks downright ferocious and more in touch with the astral nature of its backstory. Gaining an astronomical attack stat, this Mega Solgaleo looks like it could become a powerhouse, much like Mega Rayquaza is. And as far as the ability, well, I thought maybe it could gain a new one. I came up with the idea of Solar Flare, which grants the same type attack bonus on fire type moves while also setting up the sunlight for 5 turns. That way Mega Solgaleo could still retain the psychic steel typing, but gain a new fire stab and a weather setting ability to increase its damage potential with fire moves by a ton. Also, some of you may be asking, what about Lunala? Well, luckily there's some more videos on the horizon. And just like that, we are already done with this top 10 list of megas that I want to see in the Alola Dex. I just wanted to end off saying thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around while I've been gone. Fortunately, I'm back to being able to create videos, and I hope you guys enjoy the newer ideas I have coming up soon. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button as it helps me out, and subscribe if you're a new viewer. Thank you guys once again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.